Now it's a meeting.
My backyard.
Yeah. That's good, man. So
And it was funny because nobody knew who he was. But since I was watching his shows, I mean, Seinfeld and everything, I got to know his character and everything. And when he showed up to the shop, and I'm like, dude, and I started talking to him and stuff, and he was like really cool.
yeah,
So yeah, I know I got to know him. Every time he came to the shop, I actually, I he talked to me, I took care of him and make sure that his bike was okay and stuff like that. But it was cool. It was actually a cool experience.
that is cool. So I didn't know. I think you did mention that to me. So you worked in a bike shop?
Yeah, 17 years.
Okay. So that's why you know your bikes, man.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I put my own bike. I put it to get it from scratch. I buy the frame, buy the parts. I built the bike for my wife to Esmeralda's wife. It's all custom made, from parts that I put together and just did it from scratch.
You're gonna laugh at me, man. You know the reason why I haven't been able to ride my bike?
Why?
The chain popped off and got stuck in between, in between the end and like where the axle's at. You know how it, yeah, I mean it's a mountain bike. It's got the
It's the
different gears.
gears. It's the
Yeah,
gears.
but
It's
it got
stuck in
stuck.
there. It's
Right,
stuck in
and
there.
I'm all like feeling good. I got my gloves on, right?
You got your helmet.
I got my mask. I got my gloves, bro. I'm feeling good. I'm gonna ride my bike to the post office, bro. And my neighbor sees me across the street, which he's already thinks I'm a little different, right? Which he's pretty accurate with that. So, dude, I come out. I'm all like, yeah, I'm gonna ride my bike. Dude, I start pedaling. I'm like, what's going on here? I couldn't even go out. Then I'm like, I flip my bike upside down. I couldn't get the chain out. I take it back inside. I get the hammer. I'm like, all right, dude, I'm gonna bust this
No,
thing up.
that's the wrong way to
I know
do
I didn't do it, but I was like, man, I'm gonna have to take this apart to pop it out, and I didn't. But so yeah, I
I-
haven't ridden a bike in a week, bro.
I'll fix it up for you. It's easy. You when you see it,
Uh-huh.
it's gonna blow your mind. It's so easy.
Is it?
People think that it's so difficult,
Right.
and I remember just because I used to work in the service department. I was a mechanic. At the beginning, I was a mechanic, and then I
Right.
became a salesperson,
Uh-huh.
and then I was manager. So I went through all those phases, but as a mechanic, I remember people used to come out and they were all pissed off and everything. My bike is not working, and I look at it like, and I can see that it's not a big deal. So this is why when people take their cars to the
Right.
car mechanics, they're afraid because they don't know what's wrong with the car,
Right.
and sometimes it might be something simple.
Right.
But uh, the people that are not honest in the business, they
Right.
will overcharge. They will come up with something else. Well, you need this, you need that, whatever. If you're honest, like I remember seeing the problem, and I'm like, man, don't worry about it. This is let me just fix it up right now for you right now, and I'll tell you what it is, exactly what it is. And I would show them. I put the bike on a bike stand, and I say, look, this is what happened. It happens because of this and this and this. Now I'm gonna pull this back, and I'm just gonna pull the wheel off, put it back on, put the chain back on, and turn it around, and it's working. That's it. How
Wow.
much do I owe you? No, no, no. You don't owe me anything. This is not a big deal. It took like 5 minutes,
Right.
you know, and that's why when people take their cars to the mechanics, they're like, oh, this, I don't know what's going on with my car, but I'm sure they're gonna find something wrong or more, you
So
know.
was that your first sales job, or did you do sales before that?
No, that was actually my first.
Oh wow. And how old were you when you started doing that?
Gosh, I was let's see, 18. I was like 20 years old.
Okay.
No, I was 22 years old.
Wow. Okay.
I was 22 years old. I started that job, um, 21, 22, something like that. But I started a job in Santa Monica, and I was with that company for like literally 17 years.
Wow.
And I was like working in Santa Monica, maybe a few blocks away from the beach. So I used to bring my lunch and go to the beach, sit in the sand, and have my lunch at the beach, and then go back to work.
That's cool.
It was awesome. Are you kidding me? In Santa Monica, it was.
That was the job then, huh, man?
That was cool, dude. That was cool. You know, it was my. I had to wear was like jeans, not jeans, shorts, t-shirt, and some sneakers. That was it.
So how'd you get into real estate, man? What got you into real estate? And I already started recording, so no pressure. I want you to keep doing. I started a little bit ago once you started talking about the bikes, man. I was like, all right, he's in the zone. So don't even think of that. I even told you that.
Hey, I'm not tripping. You're the one who's tripping.
I'm good, bro. I'm just trying not to illegally record you right now. That's all, brother. So
how did I start in real estate? Um, it was when my wife and I sold the house in North Hills.
okay.
I think it was when Sean was born, around 2000, no, 2001, something like that. Um, I hired a real estate agent, and he's still in business. um,
So we won't say his name then.
no, no.
Yeah.
We're not talking about
Right,
that.
right.
But the fact was that um, we had a buyer that it was a Latino buyer, and the agent that was representing him was also Latino, and they were brothers. So the buyer was the brother of the agent.
Okay.
Okay. And so we took their offer and everything, and then we wrote an offer in the new house that we're going to buy in Camarillo. And so we're excited about the change, but everything went wrong. Everything that could go wrong went wrong in that transaction. I mean, the agent disappeared, the buyer disappeared. Um, my agent was like, hey, and literally he told me that he's like, hey, they're your people. You talk to them. I try to talk to them all the time, and they're not answering my phone calls. They're not calling me back. So he's like, they're Latinos. You're Latino. You talk to them.
Wow.
Like that. Like literally like that. And I was like, whoa, all right. So, I start talking. I started talking to people. I started calling the escrow company. I started calling. I chased that buyer. I chased the buyer's agent, the the loan officer, and the loan officer was horrible. That guy was just like horrible. You know, he 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 was just he didn't have any manners.
Wow.
To say that he would treat people like trash.
Right.
And that's how I felt when I talked to him. And he's just like, hey, listen, I don't have any reason to talk to you. You deal with the buyers, whatever. My, thing is with the buyers, not with you, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I don't care if the deal fell through, whatever. It's not my problem.
So you're the seller on this one?
I was a seller.
Okay.
So I start moving things, and I told my wife, I say, you know what? I can't do this thing. The only thing I can do, the only thing I have to do is talk to these people, make sense out of the situation right now, because nobody's talking, nobody is coming forward. So I gotta find them, and so I did. I went through the whole process and I chased everybody. And I remember the escrow officer was Diane over here in Remax. And she was like great, she was like, Severio, I can't tell you anything. These people are not calling me. They're not saying anything.
Right.
So, long story short, I ended up doing the whole deal on my own, because even my agent walked away and he's like, dude, they're your people. You talk to them.
It's crazy.
So I was like, after that, I was like, I look at myself and I'm like, you know what? I can do this.
Right.
Instead of selling bicycles at the bike shop, I can sell houses. And the fact that I was able to communicate with everybody and know the process.
Right.
And I'm like, this is not it's a no-brainer. All you need to do is just it's common sense. You need to communicate, you know. And that's how I say, you know what, I think I'm gonna do that. And as a matter of fact, my broker came up to me after we closed the deal. I closed the deal.
Right.
Okay, I made it happen.
You did
He
the job,
didn't.
right?
He just sat down and wait for me to say, hey, I got everything done, right?
Yeah.
Close the deal and everything. He found us a house over here in Camarillo, and then after that, he goes like, hey, listen, you did good. Why don't you, study for real estate and come and work for me? I'll get you the books and everything. Century 21.
Mhm.
Get you the books and everything, and we'll get you going. And I'm like, you know what? Not right now. I got it, but I still have to finish some stuff that I have to do. And at that time, I was going to Santa Monica College, so I was taking this classes and everything. I took business calculus and some political science stuff, and so I was into that. So I'm like, maybe let me finish this up, and then I'll hit you up. And then after that, I hit him up, and I started. That's where I started.
It's awesome, man. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I started. But I only worked for him for like maybe I want to say maybe 4 months, 4 or 6 months,
Okay.
the most, and then I bail out.
Okay. So you were with him for 4 to 6 months. Then where'd you go after that?
I so then we were living in Camarillo. So
Okay.
I was door knocking over here in Camarillo, and I find someone that told me, "Hey, I know a friend that's opened up a new office, Century 21 office over here in Camarillo."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You're Century 21, right?" I said, "Yeah." I was like, "Why don't you join him? Just have coffee with him, see what he had to say." And I
Right.
did, and then I joined that office, and then I was with him for about a year, and then after that, I moved to Remax.
Okay. Nice. So
Yeah,
C21 Remax. Where else? I know you've been at a few different places. Where else have you worked?
Keller Williams. After Remax, I left Remax. I was kind of bored, and then I moved to Keller Williams, and had a good experience in there. I was there for like maybe 2 years, I think, 2, 3 years the most. But I made good friends in there. Like that's where I met Dusty.
Okay.
Dusty's a big.
Yeah.
I made good friends in there. I made good connections, good people, and I really like the environment and just the camaraderie of people. Just sharing. One of the things that I liked the most in that office
Uh-huh.
was that everybody was sharing information. It
Absolutely.
wasn't like, well, this is just me. It was just like, hey, we we got together and we talk about where our challenges were, and how to overcome. And people with experience will come up and say, hey, listen, I done this in the past, and this. So they all share information, and they were very friendly, and I felt in tune with those kind of people, because that's basically how I am. I like to be social, but at the same time, I like to share my ideas with other people. When people stop by my office and say, "Hey, it's very listen, I'm having this kind of trouble and whatever," like, what do you think? Well, here's I can tell you what I learned and what has worked for me before, and I done it this way and that way. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you. I never stopped sharing things that had worked for me, or my opinion for that matter. With anybody that came around and say, hey, I'm struggling with this escrow. I'm struggling with finding business, or this and that. So no, it's just like I always share with anybody how I got my first deal. You know, so
That's awesome, man. I know you've been doing that as well with my brother, with the training with him, and I know he appreciates that, and he appreciates your perspective, and that's why I'm eager for you to share your story. Um, you what you've shared with me before. And again, I want to make sure you're good and you feel comfortable just with whatever it is that you want to share on a personal level. But what excites me, and as you talked about, trying to get an idea to have a clear like bullet point plan of what it is we're discussing right now. I just want to ask you as many questions as I can, just hear as much as I can, so then we can try to organize, okay, this is what we want to do tomorrow, you know what I mean?
Correct. I get it. Because
Yeah.
I was actually expecting that, because I was like, okay, so we're gonna have a meeting. I'm hoping that you will ask me questions right now that you can bullet point those questions for tomorrow. And so tomorrow,
Right.
when we're talking, you go like, Severio, so what do you think about this? Oh, Severio, well, how did you do it? Because we did talk about that, and
Right.
my response, and that, yeah, I got it.
And then when Mark hops on in about 15 minutes, I still want to, I want to talk with him and you, and just kind of get a feel for some things. But with him, I want to get an idea. I mean, if he wants to share a story, it's great, and we can talk about his story. But more than anything, I want to hear what his perspective is of what's happening right now, what he sees happening in the future, how the different lenders are handling stuff. So you'll see it's just going to be kind of a different dynamic. But I think it'll be kind of cool to hear a local real estate agent that many people know here in the community. And I don't know if they all know your story, or maybe they do, maybe they don't.
I don't
Find
think
it,
they do,
yeah, I
because
don't,
I don't talk about that with I don't mind people hearing about it, but I don't talk to about it unless you're my friend.
right. I appreciate that, brother. And, I think it's the perfect, just, I don't want to say analogy. You lived it, basically. You've lived what it takes to be successful. That's why I know you have it in you, and I see it, and I see the way that you still compete. I see the way that you still just push yourself every single day to get on the phone, to stretch yourself, to grow, to learn. You're open-minded. All of that, all the different qualities that I read about and I learn, and I'm still watching The Men Who Built America. I was actually showing Emma last night, and then it's getting all bloody, and I'm like, all right, close your eyes, babe. I was like, don't watch this part. Guy's like stabbing him, and then he's pulling a gun out, and I'm like, oh gosh, don't watch that part. Watch about Edison and the light bulb and electricity. Don't watch, because it gets crazy with Carnegie and Frick. I mean, it's not like rated R type stuff, but it's pretty violent. But
Yeah.
but the qualities that these guys had, that have done amazing things, I see a lot of the same qualities and characteristics in you. And that's why I feel I connect with you, and why, I feel that it doesn't take very long for you and I to get in alignment and start heading towards whatever it is we're trying to accomplish. So it's cool, man. You help push me. I hope I push you as well.
You know what? I like that, because actually that is true. That is true. I can connect with you like at any time, and I know exactly where you're going, and I can
Right.
follow.
Hmm.
But I also at the same time, I can do my own stuff, and where am I going with this?
Right. Absolutely. And I think the more that we continue to work together, and the more we just grow in terms of just personally, as a team, as a group, as business partners. Um, I know we got some exciting things ahead of us. So not to do it real quick, but you shared your story with me. Um, let's just start. Let's start sharing the story if you're good with that. Just what you've done, what challenges. So, all right, what legacy do you want to leave? What would you want to share with your son? Which I know your son, I'm sure knows your story. Um, what message would you like to send to him? And then, that's how you connected with me, and that's the same passion that I have for my children, of why I want to learn all this, the rules of success, hard work, all those things. What would you feel is the most important thing, that if you could say something to your son right now, what would that be?
That will be perseverance. Never give up. Never give up. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you something that is something uh, that's something that my son actually, because he knows I always been trying to tell him. I say, hey, listen, never give up. Always dream about things, and if you dream it, and if you don't give up, You can conceive that. You can make it. Um, and since he was, since he, I can talk to him since he was little. I always brought that up with him all the time, and I said, "Don't give up, don't quit, keep going, keep going." And one day, when he started listening to music, started listening to rock and stuff like that, and classic rock. One time, he brought up this song, and he goes, we were driving in the car with him, and he played this song, and he's like, "Dad, I want you to listen to this." And I say, "Well, which one? What is it?" And it's like, just listen to it. He's like, "This is your song." And he played "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey.
That's awesome.
He's like, "That's your song.
Yeah.
That's your song because you never stop believing, and you're here because of that." Dude, that I was like, "Whoa." That's when he was a teenager. But he grew up all this time, me hearing from me that, hey, you don't quit, you don't
Right.
give up. You gotta continue. You gotta believe that you can make it, and you will do it. You will do it. And he almost made me cry that day when we were driving in the car, and he's like, "This is your song. I chose this song for you because this is who you are.
It's
You
awesome.
never stop believing that you will make it over here on your own, and you did it. And look at you now."
It's awesome, man. Yeah, I can't
That was
imagine.
deep. To me, for me, that was deep. I was like, my son is actually thinking about that, about the things that I've been telling him all this time growing up. He knows my story. He knows where I came from and everything. How I made it, stuff. And he's like, "This is you. This is you, Dad." And he's like, "I dedicate that song to you. That's for you."
That's awesome, man.
That was awesome. No, that was awesome.
I can feel it, bro.
No, dude, I'm telling you, I was like driving. I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's just like, Let's just listen to this song."
Yeah,
And I'm like, "Yep, I believe it. I believe it."
that's cool. So let's share that story, man. What do you when you say you never stop believing? What is it? What is it that you believed in and that you never gave up on?
Um, I believe that since I was growing up, um, and I used to see all these videos, musical videos, rock and roll and um, uh, just music, and I was so in tune with rock and roll growing up, classic rock and mm, stuff like that, and I saw the videos and everything, and one day I remember just being we didn't have a TV. I was in someone else, my buddy's house, watching TV, and saw these videos of you know um, John Lennon, and just stuff like that. And I'm like, man, I remember vividly. I remember John Lennon when he wrote that song, "Imagine," and he was walking through. No, no, it wasn't Imagine. It was what was it? A woman. He was walking through Central Park and everything. It looked so beautiful because it was like in the fall or the winter. And I was like, damn. I was like, I want to be there. I want to be there. I want to walk through there. I want to feel. I want to feel what it feels like to be there. And I started imagining in my head, and I started putting all these things in my head that when I got old enough so I can do my own thing, I wanted to be there. And that never left my mind.
How old were you when that happened?
I, gosh, I don't know. I want to say maybe 11 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I just started thinking, you know what? That's where I want to be. That's where I want to be. That's where I want. It just every time I saw videos, I was just like, that's my place. I want to go to the United States. I want to go to the United States. I want to be there. and it just never left my mind. So I was, even my mom, funny, but my mom, when I came to the United States and I went back to visit her for the first time, she said, son, you belong there since you were little. Because she's like, I remember you just listen to all this music in English, which you didn't understand, but you like that music and you like those places and you know stuff like that. She's like, your destiny was to be there because you were just like, your country, El Salvador, wasn't big enough for you. You wanted to be somewhere else, and that's what you did. And that's exactly what I did.
It's crazy. So your mom said she knew since you were 11 years old. Just so you know, Mark just hopped on right now. Um, uh,
Oh,
yeah,
Hey,
Mark,
hey, Mark.
he's still,
What's up, Mark?
he's
good,
still
good, buddy.
telling,
How are you?
Good.
he's still sharing his
Sorry
story.
to get in the middle of it. I apologize. I was a little early.
No worries, man. Good. Um,
Hey, let me get a drink of water real quick. I'll be
Yeah.
right back.
no problem. Sounds good, man. So yeah, no, he's still telling his story right now. We are
Okay.
recording it, just so you got a heads up on it. This
Okay.
is gonna go out. We'll probably eventually cut it up and take little parts that we like and things like that.
Okay.
Um,
You want me to come back at a different time, Brandon, so you guys can finish it?
we're good, man. We're good.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
as long as you have time, it's
Yeah.
I want to make the most out of your time as well. So
Yeah.
before he gets back, he was just starting to share just in terms of his vision and that he had since he was 11 years old. Severio's from Ecuador, and he used to listen to rock and roll. And he was inspired. He didn't have a TV as a kid. He was at a friend's house, and he started sharing that story of how he sounded like John Lennon walking through. I believe he was saying in New York, like through Abbey Road, and he knew he wanted to be there one day. And so he's got a pretty amazing story that he's going to share. And the reason why I want him to share this story, as long as he's only shared it with people that he's very close to, his friends, and I've had the privilege of hearing it from him. But to be honest, he's even sharing a few more details right now. It's pretty awesome.
Cool.
And I want just Severio to have the opportunity to share that, and then also align it with what it takes in terms to be successful, the vision, the kind of, you got to burn all the bridges behind you and just go for it, and talk about those things. And I think he's got a pretty amazing story. So that's some of what we were starting to get into. And then if you're good with it, if you're good, if we continue with that, just to hear some of that. And then how much time do you have, Mark? Because I want to be.
I'm good. I mean, it's not like we have a lot of options of things to do right now, right?
I got a beer right now, but
I was going to go to have dinner, but I figured I'd have a beer too.
all right. Are we holding you up from dinner?
No, we ate. No. Being
Okay.
sarcastic. There's no restaurants open, so no, we ate already. I just want to make sure. I mean, it's great that you invited me, Brandon. I'm more than happy to be here. I want to make sure I'm not jumping in the middle of something. As long as you're okay with it, Silver. I don't know where my input comes in, but I'm more than happy to participate. I don't know.
Hey, you're just there to look good, man, and
to
clap and say, hey, good job.
We have problems. Let me go get fixed up.
That's right. And then and if you want, I know Darcy's been also doing some awesome things for what you guys are making for everybody.
Yeah, the masks. Yeah.
It'd be awesome to pay tribute to what what your efforts are there as well, and just give her some props for doing that. So if we get a chance, we can try to do that
If
tomorrow.
it comes in, that's fine. If not, no worries.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's Mark. It's by all means, it's good. It's good to have good people around us. I'm happy to share my story, and I'm happy to share it with you and everybody else. But I think I think Brandon has a good idea, because we're trying to do. See, the objective of these interviews are just not, like Brandon said earlier, we just don't want to sell real estate. We just we want to tell people a story. Maybe somebody will be intrigued by the story or inspired by it and change their point of view while they're trying to survive in this business.
There you go.
And having Brandon and me telling a story, and then you coming up with what's going on right now, which is
sure
like you're gonna be like you're gonna be like what's it, Dr.
Fauci?
Yeah, Fauci.
I'm not gonna say like a proctologist or something, but Dr. Fauci. Oh, Dr. Fauci. Oh, that guy. Yeah.
So you're gonna be the expert on at the end of the story.
End, I'll close it all out.
We're the bullshitters. They're gonna be like, get rid of these clowns. Let's actually get to the substance here.
Yeah.
But it's up to you. I mean, as much as if you want to share some of your story as well, that'd be
sure. I'll see how it fits in. Yeah.
That's so the goal of the group, the Think and Grow Real Estate group, that it's a private group. It's actually not even listed where you can run searches on it. There's 109 members right now. A lot of people that I'm very happy, that are part of this group. And the goal of it's to kind of do some of what we did in the Wood Ranch office, especially when we're doing the morning ascent, before it was called morning ascent. But we get together, we could trust each other, we could share ideas, we can practice together, we could grow together, we could talk about, I was doing a lot with Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, studying his principles, rules, all that, and then teaching it. And it was awesome, man. And we saw a great energy. And that's actually, Severio came into one, and I was actually with Denise and Heather when Severio came into it. And he was like, all right. And at the end of it, I was like, so what do you think? And he was like, it was cool. And I said, so we talked yesterday, and I had asked him, I said, so what do you think you're missing basically is part of it without just getting into too much personal. And he was like, that. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, what I just saw right there, that's what's missing. He's like, that environment, that's where my focus, my energy, along with the right type of environment and the right energy, is going to shoot straight up. Nice. He was exactly right. The second he came in, he automatically, it didn't take him time to adapt or figure it out. He came in and contributed right out the gate.
Nice.
He was able to feed off that energy. So what we're trying to do with this group is something similar to that. What sucks in our industry is there's so much competition, which it's you get it, right? Commissions, sure. That's how we live. That's how we feed our families. But there's a lot of people working in isolations just to themselves. I know this information, but I'm not going to share it. We're trying to break that, regardless what company you're working with, regardless of any of that. Let's bring the best of the industry together. Let's collaborate. Let's work together and figure out how to push through all this. So that's the goal of the group that was created. It's goal of these interviews. And the interviews is to get to hear the stories of the people that we're interviewing, but also, and the goal of this one is to try to get people to engage more. Because right now I'm posting a bunch of different things that I like that have been powerful to me. And I see that people are liking it and they're listening to it and getting some I get text and feedback that they like it, but there's still not a whole lot of engagement. I don't want this to be, this isn't a recruiting thing for me. This isn't an agenda for myself to push my business or my brand or any of that. This is something, there's no brand involved. It's just about creating that collaboration. And then what my hope is, if people start acting up or doing things, we'll just get rid of them. You know what I mean? Right. It's like, that's why I'm running the group, and I'm going to have Severio also be an admin on it as well. Great. And we're going to be pretty selective about who we have in there.
Thank you.
Keep the right type of environment. Yeah, no, I think I asked Severio, before we started this, because I wanted to keep this about him for a chance for him to do it. So we're going to start with Severio, his story, talk a little bit about, I asked him just what would he like to tell his son? What would he like to leave as his legacy? And we're starting to get pretty deep with it. And still we're going to continue in that. But no, I asked him about what he thought about you coming in on this and, share with him what you said. So I don't have to say it. So, what were your thoughts about having Mark on here?
I thought it was a great idea.
Okay.
I told him, I say, hey, I like Mark, I like Darcy. I think those guys are, and this is what I said. I think Mark is very articulate when he speaks in front of the camera and very credible because you know your stuff.
Thank you.
You know, And it's a strong point when you're talking, when you're in front of a camera. So no,
Yes, no pressure, Mark.
Awesome.
I'm like, you know what? It's awesome. Bring him in.
Thank you.
I said I would rather have Darcy, but yeah, Mark is okay.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. I always get that. It's nothing new, man. Believe me. I always get that.
So, I mean, how do you feel about that? And what are your thoughts? I know we haven't really got into detail about what we're covering, but that's kind of the premise of it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the idea? What do you
Great idea. The fact that it's, and I think the key to all of it is there's enough business to go around. If you're sharing ways for everybody to get better, we're all going to get better.
Right.
If we're, I'm going to do this and this guy can't do this, I'm not going to tell him this, I'm not going to tell him this little secret. It doesn't make sense. If a lender calls me and says, hey, how do you do this? Oh, do this, do this, do this. This is the work for you.
Yeah.
Even on a cross qualification, if I know I can do a loan, a lot of times I'll tell the broker, look, just do this and you're good to go. You've already done all the work.
Right.
Obviously, if I can get a way better loan, I'll take care of the client. The guy can't do it, but we all need to do that. That's life. I mean, that's just what I do with my neighbor. Just because we're in the same industry doesn't mean we can't share that with one another.
And you know what? People respect you more when you do that.
Yeah. I mean, we have roundtables. We obviously aren't doing them now, but a few of us get together at the office and we talk about, oh, this happened last week on this particular loan. Oh, and they go, oh, you should have done this.
Right.
Oh, I didn't even think of that, right? And so we brainstorm with people that know what they're talking about.
Yep.
And even though we're the same company, we compete, but there's plenty of business.
Indeed.
And I feel that's what makes us all stronger at the end of the day. And it's especially now when we're feeling isolated, when we're feeling more disconnected. I really want to make a bigger effort for us to stay connected. Yeah. What do we need to do on a regular basis? We're doing the calls, and you got to hop on there too. We got to get you on there. We're starting to do those. Yeah, we're starting to do those now. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. 10 o'clock. Yeah, I know it's we're getting on it, and we can do open houses now. So this is where it's at. So we actually just added Skip Hawkins. He's a newer agent that had joined the Wood Ranch office right before I left, and then also Beatrice Lopez.
Oh, nice.
So, she's jumping on it now too. So it'll be Severio and Nisa and those two, and then Russ will hop on Mondays at 9 a.m. He did a training for us, so that was about 45 minutes, and then we jumped on the calls. But we got to get you on there too, and we got to do it so that we can do it. So we'll talk about that some too. But let's for now, let's Severio, are you good? I know we kind of did a little bit of a segue there. Well, I guess before that, anything in particular that you think that people will want to know right now, that you kind of have an insight just on the lending side of knowing what's working, what's not, what proper steps you're taking to make sure that you're preparing your clients for success, right? Any type of insight like that you feel will be worth sharing to the group?
Yeah, absolutely. In this market right now, the biggest thing a lender can do is to find out exactly the stability of that buyer's job. There's so many variances. Obviously, if somebody's a police officer, a nurse, a doctor, we don't have to worry about them working over the next 2 months. I had a meeting with an office this morning, and they asked me a very similar question. With the buyers coming into their listings, you have to make sure the job stability of the buyers. Obviously, if they're a DJ for parties, we got an issue because there's no parties. You know what I'm saying?
What are we going to do now, bro?
Or if they're doing event planning, there's not a lot of events coming up.
Right.
Or if they're in a warehouse where they're line by line and they're manufacturing products, they're not doing it right now.
Yep.
So they're on a furlough. So even a furlough, we can't use that income.
Okay.
We have to use the lower income, and then it's got to be a guarantee from the employer. So I'm even struggling removing loan contingencies. If I got an iffy job,
right?
I mean, you got buyers, come on, we got to close. I know exactly where they're telling me that because their boss is going to go, hey, we just cut 20 hours next week.
All right.
So to me, that's the biggest hurdle right now. And we're verifying employment 2 days prior to closing.
Right.
I mean, so you are verifying employment 2 days before the closing date.
And the most recent paycheck has to be a full paycheck. It can't be
40
36
hours.
hours. It's got to be, if they were making 40 and that's what we used, it's got to be 40. If it's 36, we got to find out why it's 36. It's an act of Congress. We got to find out for HR, why was the pay cut, so on and so forth. I had one, a police officer, he had 30 hours of paid leave. I'm like, oh man, we got paid leave. What, are you kidding me? Just 2 weeks ago. And so we found out he was promoted, so he was in training. So they called training paid leave. So we were okay. But
So Mark,
yeah.
so Mark, let me stop you there.
Mhm.
So what does that mean? What a pay leave means? They getting paid. Are they getting
Yeah.
paid the same amount?
Yeah, sometimes if somebody has, say, built up vacation pay, right? They haven't used their vacation pay. So during this time, the company's cut back. They don't need their people 40 hours a week because they're not supposed to be working anyway. They'll pay them 25 or 30, right? And then they'll use that vacation pay to make it a 40-hour week to pay them. It's like a paid leave. They're not working, but they're paying them anyway. Some companies are doing it just to be good companies. Other people are using their back pay, their sick pay, their vacation pay to equal the payments. But we need to validate what that paid leave is for.
Yeah.
If it's because the company's cut back, we can't use their full income.
But when we're talking about a police officer, those guys are not getting laid off.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was a real surprise to me when I saw he was a police officer, and he was on training, so his was fine. His was there was a reason he was on paid leave. He was doing training. But it's if they're cutting back, if they're not working full time. The most recent one I had in the middle of a refinance, the company just said, we can't pay you full time. We're only going to pay you 20 hours a week. So I had to take her off the loan, pay off a bunch of their debt, and he had to do it himself because it just didn't hurt. Because I can take her debt off the loan too. So taking her debt and her income made it better with just him, but they had to pay off some debt and so on and so forth. So it's doable, but that's the biggest thing I think that you guys as listing agents, if you're a listing agent, have to be careful when the buyer comes in. These underwriting guidelines are changing every couple hours.
Right.
You see,
So,
that's a good information that we
yeah,
can
it's
use
huge right now.
tomorrow, because not a lot of people are aware that everybody's just assuming certain things, but they don't know the real story.
Right. And if somebody got pre-qualified, say a month ago on a high balance loan, a loan between like 510, 600, 650, that interest rate's almost a point higher right now.
I heard that.
Yeah. So if you got pre-qualified at 3.5, you might not qualify at 4.5.
Yeah.
So the buyers that you're working with have been pre-qualified already, you got to qualify them again. So, and there's different parameters too. Some of the, even FHA loans, higher FICO requirements now. Some FHA loans need reserves. FHA loan need reserves. They've never needed that before.
Yeah.
Low down payment stuff. I'm doing a 5% down high balance. The rate's 4.5. It used to be 3.5 a month ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So the guy's like, wow, the payment went up $250. I don't even want to do this now.
Exactly.
So that's the blessing is it's temporary.
What about in terms of locking the rates? Are they allowing you to lock the rates?
We can lock for an extended period. Obviously, we have to have a house. Escrows, we're not locking anything less than 45 days because we can't get them done in less than 45 days. We're doing, if we have to, we can get them done in 2 weeks. It takes top priority. But you're talking 30 to 45 days really on a purchase right now. And the problem with that is lenders will allow us to lock for, say, 45 days, but the rate difference is going to be significant. Normally, like if I locked for 30 days, I could get them 3.5. If I locked for 45 days, I could probably still get them 3.5. Might be a little extra fee. I can cover the fee. Now, if I lock 45 days, it's like a half a point, like an origination fee.
All right.
So the lender's going, I'll commit to that money, but you got to pay for it. So the long-term money, there's not a lot of, there's no liquidity. So the investors don't know where the money's coming from. Even MI went up a little bit because the mortgage insurance companies raised rates just a hair because they got to insure these things.
Yeah.
You know? So
nobody wants to insure that money right now.
Right. So the mortgage insurance went up a little bit.
Yeah.
The best loan is still a VA loan. It's still the best loan out there. I know that's your world too. And that's a great loan right now. The rates haven't jumped that much.
Yeah.
What's the rate on the VA?
What's that?
What's the rate on the VA?
I quoted somebody a 450 VA loan, 100% financing at 3.5 today.
3.5.
Yeah, great loan.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, a month ago it might have been closer to 3, but still 3.5. Spectacular.
Yeah, no, that's still great. Still great.
Yeah, And no monthly MI, as you know. So
any points or anything on that, or basis points to
that was no points. No, that was a 0-point loan. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
great.
VA is still gold, and we're direct with VA too. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, no, these are all great points. So these are definitely things we want to get into.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's
And jumbo is pretty much no more.
right. So
Jumbo?
is pretty,
Yeah,
No more?
jumbo. I mean, jumbo rates.
Not yet.
No, they're in the 5s right now. It doesn't make
Oh,
sense.
okay.
Although historically that's still an amazing rate. But and did you hear? I don't know if you heard Chase Bank. They're not going to do a loan unless you have a 700 FICO putting 20% down.
haven't
Nothing.
heard that yet.
Who's that? What bank?
Chase Bank.
Chase.
And I guarantee some of the bigger ones are going to follow
Oh,
because they're what they call portfolio loans. So that's their money. That's
correct.
not Fannie Freddie stuff.
Yep,
That's their
yep.
money.
And then they sell it. And then they
They
sell
sell it
it.
eventually.
Yeah.
Sometimes they keep it. If it's a portfolio loan, it becomes one of their investments. So
Okay.
they're making money on it. So they want
Exactly.
to guarantee that money. So they're not taking iffy loans.
So I actually had a non-QM deal that fell out.
Yeah, they will. Yep.
And it's I mean, is anything getting any better with the non-QM, or those are still out? So pretty much high risk, anything high risk.
Anything high risk, low down, high risk, stated, bank statement loans, pretty much gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's it's all important to know, especially as a listing agent, as you're looking at the different offers of what to take. I know I've heard some hesitation on FHA. I know they're doing FHA, but I know you got to be kind of careful. And that was the same way the non-QM. We were in escrow since the end of January, fell out days before it was supposed to close. And it was just like, wow,
yeah,
kidding me. You know?
I talked to somebody today on an FHA loan. The listing agent called me and said, hey, they were supposedly were approved 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Right.
Extended loan to me. One of the borrowers has a 580 FICO. FHA. I go, that's why they can't do this now.
That happened.
They're done. Yeah.
What's the
2
minimum?
weeks ago you could.
On FHA, what's the minimum now?
640 with most of them.
640.
There are some with 580, but you need reserves and you need the ratios aren't as good, so it's not a typical FHA. Yeah, and that's going to be a high rate.
Yep.
All right. So how are we going to do this tomorrow?
You know the good thing about this is it's temporary, and in 2 months it's going to feel like they're giving money away. Right?
You know what?
Back to normal.
And that's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
So what do you see happening just in terms of volume of applications? I know there's a lot of just shock right now with this whole COVID-19, stay at home.
Yeah.
Is my job going to be stable? Isn't, stock market doing what it's doing? What are you seeing right now just in terms of pace? Are you seeing things picking up? Are you seeing some confidence coming back? Are you still seeing a little bit, let me just hold back because I think the prices are going to come crashing down? What are you hearing in your world?
And on the purchase side, I'm feeling holding back.
Okay.
And I'm sure you guys are too. There's just not a lot of people that look at properties. There's not a lot of people want to list properties. Obviously, if either one of those, if they're doing it, it's because they have to. So that's a smaller market. As far as refis go, in the conforming loan world, rates are great. I got a guy 3.25 today on a 480 loan amount, piece of cake. So the low 510 rates are amazing. Still, purchase and a refi. So that lower level condo, single family that's in the mid 5s with 10% down, whatever, those are great rates. So it's the higher stuff the lenders don't want to take a risk on because of liquidity. So what helped us so far was the bond market. The feds were buying bonds. They stopped buying bonds a couple days ago. And they were doing that to artificially build up the bond market to keep interest rates low, but it didn't work. So they were buying all these bonds, and rates should be like 2.5 right now, where the bond market sits in relation to the bond market levels of bonds and the 30-year average or the 25-day moving average and so on and so forth. Rates should be in the mid 2s, but they're in the mid to high 3s or 4s depending on the loan. Right. So it's because lenders don't want to put that money out there right now.
Nobody wants to put their money right now.
Right. They just don't want to invest. There's too much risk, especially with people losing jobs, companies going out of business. You got some guy doing a statement or a bank statement loan, self-employed. They're not going to do that loan. That place could close down in 2 months.
Exactly. That's logical.
Yeah. It's just investors are tightening their strings right now. Let the dust settle. Once the economy starts rolling again, it'll slowly start coming back. But I think rates are going to stay low. I really do. There's no reason. This economy was solid before. It'll be there in a few months. It really was. And I think rates will be good for a while.
You know what? I disagree with that. I don't think the
Oh,
economy is going to go bounce back that fast.
well,
I think
not fast, but it's got a good base. If it was another economy 10 years ago, it might have fallen apart. But I think the economy we had 6 months ago, 4 months ago, 3 months ago was strong. That's to me, that's the foundation. You still got to build on it again, but it's got a solid foundation, if that makes sense.
no, it makes sense the foundation, but I think now after this, when we bounce back, the general public will be afraid to invest and to move their money. They're gonna have to. I'm thinking that's just my personal opinion. I think they're just gonna wait
Mhm.
until farther out, through this to see if they're safe to move their money. I don't think anybody's gonna jump into moving their money right away.
Into real estate?
Yeah.
Okay. You would know that better than I would. You know the buyers, you know that part of it. Absolutely you would.
Severio doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. I disagree with Severio, but I think it's a valid. I think there's really two sides of where people think. There's probably three, but definitely two. Severio's opinion, which is a valid opinion, and I do feel that some people do feel it's going to take a little bit for people to get adjusted. I hear people are going to take a little bit more so. I don't think on the money side as much as the fear of being around people, the fear of getting, big sporting events, concerts, those types of things. I think,
That's a good point.
I
Yeah.
think because it's going to take a little bit to get back to that. Like I just heard Mark Cuban talking the other day, and he basically was saying, they asked him, okay, so when are you going to get everything going back to normal again? He's all, when the experts tell me it's safe to, right? When they tell me that my workers aren't at risk by being back out there, then we're going to get it going again.
Right.
So who knows how long that's going to take.
True.
I think there could be some time, but where I agree with you is I think right now, because the market was white hot before this hit, and there's still multiple offer situations happening right now.
Yeah.
And with all the concerns, I think, especially with affordability being where it's at here in Southern California, people have just been waiting to try to get into something, and they couldn't get into. They were getting their butts kicked right before this all hit, and so they're still watching. They're still online. The amount of people registering on these websites, the internet leads are going up. They're all online. They're checking it out. They're watching it. They're maybe not pulling the trigger yet, but what's happening is people are on the sidelines, and this is what I was telling my client the other day. I just told him, I said, because he's like, well, we're just going to hold off now. We think the prices are going to come down. We think, it's going to, and if we need to, then we'll just rent the two places out, and we'll just rent them, and then, we'll probably still buy something, but we're going to buy it when the prices are coming down. And I just told him, I said, look, man, I think we're seeing a hesitation. We're going to see a bit of a freeze more so than a recession. When people are focused on stocks, they're saying recession just based off of how low the stocks have gotten, right? When they start saying it's in that recession area. But my client even brought up, and he was like, look, back in early 2000, we were in a recession. What happened to the housing market? Kept growing. 2002, 2003, 2004,
Crazy.
2005,
Yeah.
2006, right? The housing market kept going up.
2007.
Right. Well, but what happened? 17 straight interest rate hikes, right?
Yeah.
You remember that? Every time, up. They killed the market. They knew what they were doing. They had to, because it was getting out of, it was insane how high, and people were just pulling money out. So they had to clean a lot of stuff that was happening. I don't see that right now.
No.
My concern, even if unemployment hits, and I like what Russ said the other day, he's like, hey, if it hits 30%, guess what? There's 70% that still are employed. There are still 70%.
Yeah.
There are people that have to buy and sell. You're still going to have movement, but there's a lot of people that are going to back off, and they're not going to work. And they're going to say, well, until things get better, then I'll start working. Until things get better, then I'm going to do these things. There's people out there that need our help now. There's people out there that need to, that are watching, and they're just not sure what to do. So they're waiting and kind of hearing. And I think there's going to be a lot of buildup. To be honest, I think it's going to get crazy. The second that everybody's like, okay, we're back to being able to get back to real life again, I think you're going to see just a crazy market, because nobody could do anything. I mean, I'm just thinking of just like the You know, my buddy was just talking about, he mentioned Palm Springs. He's like, dude, I got to book it now. He's like, the second they say it's okay to go, he's like, everything's going to be booked up. And I agree.
Yeah.
I think people are going to get out. I think they're going to go. They're going to do all the things they couldn't do for months.
Right.
All the things we couldn't do, we got to get out and go. We got to book that trip. We got to get out. Like, let's go do something and get out, because we've all been pent up. So
yeah, I think the only limiting factor, I agree with you, it's like a rubber band. And once the gates are open, that thing's going to pop. But the only limiting factor to that are the people that don't have money right now.
Yep.
Once this changes, they're still not going to have money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the ones that are lucky enough to be able to make a living while this is going on, and hopefully have some savings so that when it does pop, I can afford to go to the restaurant 7 nights in a row because I've missed it for 3 months.
Right.
That's a true fact, because if people don't have money, that situation is not going to change for them with
it won't.
this or that. It doesn't matter.
But they might not have been home buyers anyway.
Right.
Exactly.
We're talking about home buyers.
If you don't have a job, you're not buying a home.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. So we need jobs, but I can tell they're watching it. And even as much as they're killing everything right now, they're still. I'm grateful they did the essential designation for us.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely,
it was getting. It's like, how long are we going to go with this?
Right.
So now it's like, all right, you got to be careful, but you can show property again. We can't do open houses, but we can at least show property. That creates the movement. So.
We can't have meetings, but we can do this.
Yeah, and we can. There's a lot. I mean, look at how much planning we should be doing, and this is forcing us to do things that we weren't doing before. This is good. What we're doing
really
right now,
this is good. Yes, I agree.
And this is what we need to do with clients, and this is what we need to do with prospects. Educate them, spend time, carve it out in our day. You know, start connecting through technology. Should be easier to set up a listing appointment. Should be, but there's a lot of people that the fear is going to overtake them. And they're going to be checked out or looking at another job, or it's like, when is my check coming in? And when are these things going to happen? When is the government going to take care of me? I can't think like that right now. And I'm not acting like I haven't looked into anything, you know, but I'm trying to be careful.
Sure.
I'm trying to control what I can control. And maybe I've always had that optimistic view, at least when it comes to the economy, even before the market crashed, you know, back in 2008, really, or 6 to 8 in that ballpark. I was still optimistic before that happened. I was 22 years old. You know, I bought in 2004. I bought it, you know, with a 2-year fixed interest rate, right? And then refinanced it to a 10-year fixed, thinking I was doing big things. Like, all right, I'm concerned. This is 10-year fixed, man. I'm golden, right? And that payment went up. And
10 years, that's forever.
Like, oh my gosh. Huge wake up, you know. But it's I do think we're going to get somewhere good. And I think there is going to be some fear of, especially with China and other things out there. I think you're going to see more jobs here in the U.S. I think you're going to see more opportunities here. So it's a little stuff. We scared Severio away, man. No, but this is what I want to talk about. And this is some of the discussion that I'd like to get into as well. And even the difference of opinions and see what other people chime in with.
Differing opinions are great. Because you get a different perspective. That's a beautiful thing. Yeah. If we all have the same opinion, we wouldn't be learning anything.
Right.
Right? No, you have to. Now, is there a meeting tomorrow that you want me in on?
Yeah. So tomorrow's at 10 a.m. Are you good for 10 a.m.?
I have one. Let me check my calendar. I think I have one at 10:30.
Okay.
So let me see if Darcy can go on it. We're doing a lot of Zoom meetings with other offices, you know,
right.
Like crazy.
Yeah.
All the Pinnacle offices, the Remax One offices. Let me see. Hey, hon, you there? My schedule keeper. I'll email you when we're done. I mean, obviously, if it'll fit in, even if I got to leave early, is that cool?
Yeah. Well, what we could do, and I'll talk to Severio and make sure he's good with it, is we can start with you if you got to leave early, and just get right into it right out the gate. And then just
if you're okay with that, I don't want to mess things up.
No, I'm good. This is you know, that's the beauty of this is we're making it up as we go. You know what I mean? Nobody's telling me I need to do this. Nobody's saying, hey, you got to do this. I even thought it's like, well, I could skip tomorrow. So next week I got Phil Atwan, 1031 Tax Exchange. I'm going to be interviewing him, and he rocked it at our Wood Ranch office when he would present. Have you heard him before?
No, I haven't. But there's been some 1031 exchange changes too, so he would have some good insight on that.
Yeah, he's solid. Then I got Laura Lee Anthony the week after that.
Oh, nice.
So
I like Laura Lee, man.
she's awesome.
Yeah.
So, so just one of my early mentors, and she's the reason why I joined Troop, was because of her. So, so she'll be there the weekend after that. We're going to do the interview with her. I'm going to touch base with her this Friday, and we're going to kind of go over some stuff. But yeah, and it's Severo and I were just talking. I was like, "Hey, bro, you want to do the interview?" He's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And I was like, "Let's go."
Nice.
So it's a nice, I'd rather keep it as a regular thing. So it's been every Wednesday at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And then what we've been doing is kind of the night before. And what we can do, even though it'll be a little segment, we can plan something out maybe about a month or so out from now and do something where it's a little bit more personalized for you and Darcy.
Okay.
And, and get more in depth. But I think for right now, more of just a market update, talk about some of these things, kind of what your thoughts are, what you think is going to be coming up in the future. And I think keeping it as optimistic as possible is, I think, inspire hope right now.
Absolutely.
And as well as what can we control, what we can do right now.
Yeah.
What are the numbers and what's happening right now? And I guarantee people are going to hear it. And just like after I did the one last week, it already started generating some stuff, generating opportunities. And to be honest, I wasn't even looking to do that. I really wasn't. I was like, you know what? I want to put this thing together and have the opportunity to interview people that I respect, and just, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. So let's get this on video at least once and see where we go with it.
There you go. All right.
And you help.
Yeah, I'll jump on at 10, and then, like I said, my meeting is at 10:30. If that's okay, I'll just jump off. I apologize.
Don't be. No, I'm asking you the night before, so thank you for volunteering, man. I appreciate that. So Severio, so he's got to be off at 10:30 tomorrow. So we're gonna start with Mark with the market update from the lending world, and then we'll jump into your part right after that. Does that work for you?
Nope. Mark is out.
All right, Severio. Sorry, Mark made a better case already.
Hey, I got first billing. I'm sorry.
And I agree with him more than I agree with you, man. So I don't know. So now I'm trying to think. So any other things that you think would be worth it? Well, I guess, Mark, that you want to share. So, just thinking of what do people need right now? What is it that they would want to know in terms of information? What do you think would be helpful for them, other than what you've already cared?
I think we've discussed what I would, if somebody asked me that question right out of the chute, that's exactly what we've discussed is what I would tell them. But the biggest thing is, and like you had mentioned, you want to keep it positive, but it's temporary. This is short term.
Right.
And we're going to be back running like crazy in a few months. And I think rates are going to stay solid. That's kind of a, a buyer might want to hold off if you say that, though.
Right.
So you not that I wouldn't tell them the truth. Right. I don't know how I word it, because I guess if my audience was realtors, I'm going to tell them all that.
Well,
I would never want to tell a buyer, hey, don't buy that house because rates are going to be better in 3 weeks. Well, I would tell them, get in now and we'll refinance in 6 months, get a rate where you need so you don't lose that house.
Right. There you go. Well, and getting back to your point about the rates, we believe the rates are going to be low, but we also didn't think the rates were going to jump the way that they jumped when they did just recently, so and that priced people out of the market. That's that was the difference of whether they could get a house or not get a house, was literally days in terms of what happened. So you can only control what you know today.
Right.
You can't control what's going to happen tomorrow. We know what's going to happen today. And that's all we have control over. So when people wait, they take that chance that they price themselves out of the market. Yeah, we think the rates are going to be low, but we don't know for certain that they're going to be low. And so you may be able to afford that right house now, and you may not be able to a few weeks from now. So
good point.
As well as the longer that this does go on, maybe you can close on your house and get into that property, or you may be out of it, because I know for certain clients,
if rates do go down, then you can refinance. If they don't, you got the house you wanted.
Right.
So there's definitely positives you can put into it, no question.
Yeah, cool. No, I think that's good. We had a little bit more time than we try to get into your story. But if you do get a chance, I think it would be good to bring Darcy on and
for sure,
acknowledge what she was doing. We'll hit it right with kind of with the facts, like the meat of it right out the gate.
Okay.
and give that information. And then I think bringing Darcy in before you wrap up would be great. And then, we can plug it in. And then if she has a little bit more time, we can talk to her before we switch to Severio's
Okay.
story and get into that.
All right.
Because my stuff is going to be boring. Your stuff is important.
Exactly.
That's why I can't be there after 10:30. I figured it'd be boring.
The best up front. When you left Severio, you'll see it on the recording. I'm like, tell him you got to go at 10:30.
It's Silver and Brandon for the next hour.
Tell him you got to go at 10:30, and then call him up and say, hey, I got something really important for you, and we're just gonna sub him out, okay?
I know. I know. I see how it is. It's all good.
Bro. You
It's all
got
good.
sloppy seconds, bro. You just got demoted, man.
Good. It's all right.
No way. Never.
All right. Well,
Good stuff.
I think that's good, man. Unless there's
Okay.
anything else, and you're welcome to hang on if you want to hear more of Severio's story. I mean,
I'd love to if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I'll go grab a beer too.
Get,
All right.
get a beer, bro. Go get a beer, man.
Do it. Go get a beer. We'll be right back.
Go get another.
Okay.
Are you gonna get one or not?
Yeah, I'm going
going.
to.
bro. I need to go get one.
Yeah, no, I'll go get one.
You live close to me. Why don't you come bring one over here too, bro? I'm gonna go get it.
Do you want to be alone? I'm still on this call. I can go to the garage. You fine? Okay. So I want to make noise while you're enjoying your time. I was just gonna go to the garage. So I can talk trash with these guys. But if you don't mind, I'm good. Where's honey?
All right. Say what's up, Mikey.
Hey, buddy.
That's Mark. Say hi, Mark.
Hi, Mikey.
Say hi.
What are you eating there, bud?
A cookie.
A cookie? That looks good. I wish I had one.
I know.
Can I have one? Here.
Can you throw him one?
Go
Go
right at your computer.
Right? Oh, great. He had a pretty good arm too. He would have broke it.
I've seen some of those videos.
He's seen you.
I've seen you. You're famous.
Yeah. Your
You
face.
all ready there, Silver? You getting prepared?
I know, bro. Man, I'm ready for the show, man. I hope this is good.
Good stuff.
Ready? Are you
Well, thanks
prepped?
for inviting me. This is fun, you guys.
Yeah. No, it's been fun putting this together.
I bet.
You ready, big guy?
Yep.
All right. Your audience is waiting. We're patiently waiting, bro. So
Hey, Mikey.
tell us about
Hi.
your earliest memory.
So I don't know. Where do you want me to start?
Kind of where you were finishing off. So you basically told about when you first had the vision that you knew. I mean, your son had told you, dedicated the song "Don't Stop Believing" from Journey,
Right.
and said that song was that's your song right there. So maybe starting from there, when you originally had the vision, and what you did, man, all the adversity you had to overcome to fulfill your dream.
Well, there were a lot of things, but one of the things that I remembered the most, it was my determination.
Right.
I remember being in Mexico City. No, actually, Guadalajara, Jalisco, in Mexico. And I remember being stuck over there when I was 16, and through my journey to come to the United States, and I ran out of money, and I was there on a Friday. I got to Guadalajara on Friday night. By Monday morning, I had a job.
Wow.
Just like the next day, like literally the next day, I got up, went and got a newspaper and started looking for a job, and I made some phone calls and everything. And by Monday, I had an appointment to go to a machine shop because I was a machinist. And I went over there and talked to the owner, the manager, whatever, and then I had a test, and they like, okay, well, can you do this? Can you do that? I couldn't pass the test, and they say, well, all right, come back tomorrow, 7:00 in the morning. You starting tomorrow, like that. And I was like, even myself, I was impressed to do that in a different country.
You're from Ecuador, right?
El Salvador.
El Salvador, my bad, bro.
Start with an E. It's got an E in
let's
it.
write
El
this down.
Salvador, Ecuador,
Dude, that's why we're doing the
Europe.
practice run, bro.
England.
Original from El Salvador, England. Yeah, exactly.
Start with an E.
Tahiti. But anyways, just going through the process of just being there, no job, no money, just being in hold, I don't know how that happened, but it was just my determination to say, you know what, I'm here. I need to make the best of it. And by Monday, I had a job. And that was a good paying job. I should have it's funny because when I left that job, my boss told me, he's like, what are you doing? And I say, well, I'm going to the United States. And he's like, why are you going over there? You got a good job over here. There's a good place. You get paid well and everything. And I say, yes, I know. But this is not my goal. My goal is to get there. And I know I got everything that I need over here right now, because I did. I went to work at 7:30 in the morning, and I got out from work at 1:30, 2:00, and I was done. And with one day that will work, I will pay my rent. One day.
Wow. One day.
One day. That's all I need to do. Go for one day. I can slack after that, But no, it was just like one day will pay my rent. And then afafter that, it was a great job. And the
That's
city.
why you got in real estate.
Huh?
Because you work one day and you can pay your rent after working one day.
something like that.
Right.
But no, it was. I think it was just a determination to just to be here because I didn't want to. I didn't want to stay over there. I could have if I
And
wanted
you were
to.
by
But
yourself there.
I was by
Just you?
myself.
And
I was
how
16. I was
16
16,
years old.
Wow.
and I'm like, no. My point is that way. I'm going up north, and even the guys say, "Hey, listen, if you ever come back, find me. You got a job over here." And I say, "Thank you," but I'm like, I'm out.
I'm out.
I'm out, and I never look
Drop
back.
the mic.
I'm out, and you know, it was just it was determination that drove me to do that, and you know, after everything happened and all the stuff, and now I look back and I'm like, man, that took a lot.
Mm.
It took a lot, you know, for being a teenager to have the determination to do that kind of stuff and on your own without having your parents
Yeah.
to tell you, hey, don't drink, hey, don't do drugs, hey, because they're not around. And you're around with a lot of people that are doing all these things.
When did
and
because you got out towards like LA, right? Isn't that or
no,
when you first came to the States? Yeah, tell us a
it
little
was
bit about
first. Well, and this is a funny story because I had a lot of friends, unquote, right, in LA. So when I got to Mexico, when I was in Guadalajara, one of the guys that I was traveling with say, "Hey, listen, if you have friends in the United States, call them up, see if they can help you, and they can send you some money, and we can hire someone to get you to the United States."
Wow.
Right? So I'm like, "Oh, that sounds good." So I called one or two friends that I had over here in LA. They picked up the first time, and when I told them what was that call about, they hang up. I called them the second time, maybe the call got disconnected or something because it was calling from a public phone. Call them back again, it was never picked up.
Mm.
So then I realized, like, all right, this is just me. I don't have any help. I don't know anybody over there.
That's crazy.
I just gotta make it myself. Yeah, they dropped me, and when I came over here, and then I after the fact that I came over here and I came to LA and stuff like that, they all wanted to see me,
Right.
but they didn't want to help me when I needed that help. But when I came around, I'm like, oh, Silverio's here. Let's go check him out. Let's go see what's up. Whatever. Like, I didn't want to hang out with them.
Yeah.
Nope.
How'd you finally get her?
How did I finally get here?
Mm-hmm.
So I worked and made some money over there in Guadalajara and started traveling on my own. Took the bus to the border, and then hang out at the border, finding like what's got it was all new to me. So what's going on over here? So I hang out there for like 10 days, and I hang out with this guy. That it was really cool guy, Mexican guy, and everything. And that's the other thing that I want to bring up is that every time I went anywhere, I was always respectful to people, and people always respect me. And so, if you guys don't know this, Salvadorians and Mexicans don't like each other.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Because, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why. Because when the Central American people or the Salvadorians are like, they like to start up some trouble. Okay, so when they cross the Mexican territory, the Mexicans, um, mess with them. Not the people, but the federales, the police, everybody that has the authority to do something, they do something.
Mm.
And so they're relentless against that, because every time they have to, and they're not staying in Mexico, they're just crossing that to come over here. But when that happens to them, to their children, to their women, and whatever, they get, that's what their hate is. Okay, but at the same time, um, I crossed the whole territory and I trade, you know, with people and everything, and I treat people the same way I wanted to be treated, and I never had a problem. So it to me it goes along with you treat people the way you want to be treated. A lot of times when you travel, or for example, a lot of people hate Americans when they travel. Why? Because they think they deserve everything anywhere they go. They're like, oh, well, this is too cold, this is too hot, or blah blah blah. And when you're in a different country, I'm sorry, you don't have any, your rules don't apply there.
Yeah.
And when people travel, like Central Americans, they travel through Mexico and they want to apply their own rules in a foreign country, it just doesn't work.
Right.
So, but that's one of the things that I think I did well going through Mexico is because, I always respected people. I was just humble, and I wasn't racing anything, or whatever they say. Hey, this is your country. This ain't my country. You tell me what to do, and I move along, and I keep moving. I'm not staying over here, but you gotta respect people. You gotta respect their policies and stuff.
So by then, what were you, like 18? How long did you stay at that job? Were you like 18 when you were?
No, I only stayed in Mexico for like 6 months.
Oh, okay.
6
so you
months.
stay at that job for a short period of
I
time.
only stay in Mexico for 6 months to make some money so I can continue my travel.
Okay.
And I saved that money, and then I took off, and then I went to the frontier over there in Matamoros and Brownsville, Texas.
Mm.
So that's where I crossed.
No kidding. Wow.
Yep, that's where I crossed. I was like, 16 and a half, almost 17, something like that.
Wow.
On my own.
Scary.
And I didn't have any family over here. I was from my family. I was the first one that came over here.
Wow.
Yeah. Luckily I made it through, and I started, as soon as I got somewhere, I started working, and I always kept a job. Always. I was working in construction. Hard days, working in construction. At night, I would go to ESL classes to learn English, because I didn't know shit. It's funny because when I was in high school in El Salvador, we had English classes over there. I thought I was like one of the top, guys in the class. I came to the United States and people start talking to me in English, and I'm like, what did you just say?
That's like if I went to Mexico, right? Yeah. Wouldn't happen.
I was lost. I was like, what the hell just happened? Who hit me?
I only took Spanish 1 and Spanish 2, okay?
Yeah.
I only took English 1. I got an
A. and so when I came to America, I thought I knew English, but I didn't.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, this is not working. I need to work, and at night I'm gonna go to school.
You were very mature for that age. Oh my gosh, you were mature for that age.
Well, you know what happens? What I believe that happens is like when you are on your own, you gotta mature a lot faster.
Good point.
Because it's all about survival.
Yeah.
Nobody else like when I was in Mexico, I remember when I was in Mexico, I was working and just paying attention to everything, and the money that was earning it was Mexican money, but I will buy dollars to send money to my mom.
Wow.
Back in El Salvador.
Wow.
You know, so I was always like conscious of like, all right, this is what I need to do, but I was like, my mom always needs help. So I was always like, hey, here, mom, you know, here's some money. Here's some money. I mean, even in Mexico, I had to pay double to buy a dollar, but I still did that.
Why dollars instead of a Mexican currency?
Oh, because the dollar in El Salvador, they don't accept Mexican money. They don't accept pesos.
Okay.
It's back in the days, and it's always been dollars, like because you know, people from the United States will send dollars, so there was a market.
So U.S. currency was pretty common there.
I'm sorry.
U.S. currency was pretty common in El Salvador.
Well, now it's national. The dollar is national. We don't have our own currency anymore.
Oh.
But before, it was the dollar dominated over anything in El Salvador. So if you send dollars, it'll be like, you know, it'll triple our currency. So it was a good trade.
Makes sense.
So yeah, when I was in Mexico, I would buy dollars and send dollars to my mom.
You just mail it, like mail cash, and it would get there.
I did sometimes.
Wow.
That was back in the days. I was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to fold them on a bills. I used to fold them on that aluminum foil.
Wow.
And put them in put in an envelope, seal it, and send it. Yep. It wasn't. There was no, you know, money order. There was nothing like that. It was just like literally I used to send just like cash.
So you mentioned that you were inspired when you were 11. You saw something on TV, and it inspired you to want to leave. Was there anything else just that was happening in El Salvador that you knew it's like, I don't want to raise my family here. I want to go to the U.S. Anything else that kind of drove you to that?
Good question. Yes. I think when I say that I used to look at these rock and roll videos, music videos, and I always dream to be over here because of the scenery and the parks, and you know, it's just like beautiful to me. That was a dream, right? That was something that I wanted to do, but I didn't know how. But one of the events that actually happened to trigger that to happen was when I got a job in the capital, San Salvador. One of the best jobs I ever had. It was the best. I was a machinist working for a company, an international company that had like good reputation and good benefits. And they used to give us 2 hours for lunch. Okay, and there was a park right across the street, this big park, and it had like so many soccer fields because El Salvador is big in soccer. And literally, we will go and eat lunch for half an hour and go play soccer for an hour and a half, right across the street. And then we just run back to our company, and we had showers, we had lockers and everything. We just take a shower, blah, 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 go back to our machine, and you stay there. If a job comes in, good. If it doesn't, no problem. You just stay there. You just, that's your machine.
What were you, like 14?
That was, no, I was 15.
Wow.
Yeah,
Still.
I was 15.
15.
I was 15 and a half, something like that. Because when so this is the event. So I got this job and I was like, I'm set. This is a dream job. And and then I forgot about, I kind of put on hold coming to the United States because I just found the best job I wanted. That was it. That was my dream. And then I was enjoying that. I was like, I'm set. I'm good. I go visit my mom, my dad in the weekends, and I was staying in the capital and just doing my thing and whatever, earning money and buying my things and whatever. And something happened that actually triggered that to say, you know what, I'm out of here. So one day I was walking to the bus stop to take the bus to go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I got, at that time, during the Civil War, there was no, there was, what was, it was, what you call it? You don't have to enlist. They force you, they grab you from the streets.
Drafted.
Yeah, not even drafted. They grab you from the streets.
Grab you from the
streets. No, literally.
Excuse me, you're gonna go.
Yeah. You feed their profile. They look at you. They're like, all right, here, come here. Show me your documentation, ID. I show them my ID, and it's like, all right, this way. Boom. I move to the other block, and I see like 50 kids my age sitting down right there. They all just being punk. And we all got put into a military truck, into a military base.
Wow.
Without my mom didn't know. I mean, luckily, my aunt, the one that I was staying with, one of her friends saw me get him, put him into the truck, and she ran to my tia, my aunt, and say, "Hey, Silverio's been taken by the militaries." I spent 5 days in a military camp or base. Hated it.
I bet.
Hated it. Because that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, so we had a Civil War, and something that I didn't understand. I was a teenager. I didn't understand. There was a lot of movement going on left and right. I didn't understand what's up, and I didn't want any part of it either. And so that event, I was lucky enough to get out of that situation because of a friend that was, she was the sister of the Minister of Defense, or and she was a friend of our family. She was the one that got me out. Wow. Otherwise, I would have spent 2.5 years in there if I would survive. But that was the what you had to do. It was 2.5 years. And once I got out, I went back home, and I was like, no hair because they shaved me, no whatever. Hair. Yeah, I was so pissed. I was just so mad.
I shaved my head.
Yeah. So I got home, and my mom was so happy to see me and my dad and my brother and stuff, and then I got together with other friends in my neighborhood, and they were saying, "Hey, we're gonna make a trip to the United States." And so I said, you know what? I'm in. I'm out. I'm out of here. And so I told my mom, I said, hey, Mom, listen, next week, I'm leaving. And she's like, you're leaving where? You're going back to your aunt in San Salvador? You're going to take that job again? I said, no, I'm actually out of the country. And she's like, what? She's like, you have nobody anywhere else. I say, I don't care. Anywhere I go, it will be better than staying over here. I don't want this. And so, yeah, the next week I left, and I remember that.
Good.
Do you have any siblings back home?
Yeah. My mom, my dad is still there. My older brother, still there. So every year I go there and visit them, hang out with them.
So,
But yeah, no, my mom was like, you know, and one of the things that I remember, it was like, it was hard for me because my mom was, I mean, the best. But I remember when I saw her crying when I was leaving, taking that pain with me, I knew that if I can do that, I can do anything else. If I'm leaving my mom right now and it hurts, I can do anything else.
Nice.
yeah, that's huge, man.
Good. I'm glad I'm on this call. I don't know why I'm on this call, but I'm glad I'm on this call, dude. This is good stuff.
It was hey, listen, Mark, I'm glad you're here. You know,
Me too.
you're a good guy, and I don't mind you're listening to my story.
I love your story.
Yeah, and it's whatever you feel comfortable with, man. Because I get, I don't know if I shared with you. I dated a gal that she had came from, I think, Guadalajara, and she didn't say anything to me for a good month after we were dating, and I get why, you know. And a lot of people abused the situation, the trust, whatever it was, where she was afraid to tell me, and it created a little bit of a rift between her and I, because it's like, well, you know, how can you not tell me something like that, you know? And I don't know how I would have responded to it, but I would have. I mean, I still stayed with her for 2 years after that. You know what I mean? So obviously cared and had feelings, but I can understand why somebody would want to be kind of cautious about just sharing the story. So,
Sure.
you know, just the fact, I want you to feel comfortable with whatever it is that you want to share. I think there's some huge lessons, and I know you've shared some things with me also outside of what you've just shared right now. And I just, you know, I want to ask questions, but I also want to go to areas that I think I'm probably more careful, just like you told me. You're like, bro, I ain't sweating none of this, bro. You're the one sweating this, you know? And it's like, but I want to be mindful and proper to you. You know what I mean? Because it takes a lot of guts to do what you did. It takes a lot of guts to be open about, you know, that journey when you know that, you know, there's mixed feelings in terms of out there, you know. And last thing I want to do is make things more difficult for you in any way. I'm hopeful that people can appreciate and be open-minded, you know.
True that, but you know what? That is actually, that journey that I took, it is actually the best journey of my entire life.
Good.
Because like Mark said, your maturity level was high at your age. You know, like, but I didn't have any choice. I had to do it.
Right.
And doing that taught me a lot of things. Just going through that process, that journey, it was beautiful that nothing bad happened to me. Okay, but I was always positive. I was always in good faith, treating people and just being careful of places I was going. Like, I remember when I came to Matamoros, Tamaulipas, the border with Brownsville, Texas. I remember that I walked out of the bus and I didn't know where to go. Left, right, straight. I don't know, because I didn't know that place, right? So what I did is I start counting the blocks that I was walking. So I got a backpack. I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna walk 5 blocks this way, 2 blocks that way. See a park. I want to walk to the park, but I was tracing my steps. If anything happened, I know where the bus station was. And I can come back to the bus station and take another bus and go somewhere else. You know, and I remember going over there and sitting in the park and just watching people passing by and all, the people that were jogging and, people having their own life. And I'm like, I'm nobody. I'm like, it feels like one of those videos of Oasis when this guy is sitting like in the middle of nowhere and just watching people passing by and he's singing. That's what it felt like.
That's crazy.
And not only that, but also thinking it was 5 o'clock and thinking, where am I going to sleep? So all that taught me that if you treat people well, you will find ways to get connected. And I'm gonna tell you this. Brandon, are you falling asleep?
I'm writing, bro.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you're half Japanese and your eyes look closed.
I've been trying to keep the rest kind of myself, but if you're gonna open that door, bro, you're gonna hear it. I still can't understand half of the shit that you're saying right now, bro. We need to get you back on those ESL classes, and we're gonna work on that. All right, brother?
Yeah, exactly. We still have to. No, I still have to. That's not your problem. That's my problem.
It is, bro. It's my problem too.
So no. Anyways, that it taught me how to find connections. I find connections in Mexico that people always find Salvadorians, so it are hard to find. Just by being humble and just listening, and hey, just I'm gonna tell you this. I don't think anybody knows this, but the guy that I found that night, that day. Okay, so I had a name in an address, and I went to look for that address, and I found it. Asking, I found it, and then I knocked on the door, and he wasn't there. So the person said, "Well, he's not here. He'll be back at 6 o'clock." And I'm like, "All right, now it looks like I'm gonna have to go hang out at the park again." Went back to the park, came back 6 o'clock, and he was there. And he's like, "Oh, yeah. I remember so and so," because I say, "Hey, I have a friend that passed by over here, and he told me that he knew you, and I can, contact you, and maybe you can help me out or whatever." And then he's like, "Oh, yeah, I remember him." And he was like, "But you can't stay over here. Sorry." He's like, "I got 2 teenagers over here, and you're a teenager." So he was like, "No way, you ain't staying over here." And I'm like, "I understand that. I get it, But he was like, "But let me take you. Let's go over here. Let's go to somewhere else who also knows your buddy, and see what he had to say." We went somewhere else, and this guy said, "You know what? Hey, you can come over to my house. You can stay at my house, no problem." And I was like, "Wow,
yeah,
this guy doesn't even know me. I'm Salvadorian." And he just opened up the door for me and said, "Hey, he has a wife, kids." And he was like, "Yeah, come with me. Let's go."
It's awesome.
So I stayed with him for like 10 days. And then we hang out, in town, and went out to eat and stuff like that. And I always help around the house too. And then I say, "Hey, listen, I want to get across the border. You know anybody who does that?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Me." I say, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, "No, that's what I do." I'm like, "Okay then." All right.
I'm at the right place.
So when do we do it? And he's like, when do you want to do it? I say, how about Sunday? And he was like, all right, Sunday it is.
Wow.
So, and the rest is history.
That's unbelievable. That so could have gone another direction, Silver.
I
That
know.
so could have gone another direction.
But after I left
Any day
that
of the
place,
week.
after I left that place, I read in the news that they would, because the cartels over there in Matamoros are like ruthless.
Yeah.
And I heard that there were people getting killed left and right over there. And I was just there. And I walk away from that and I went like, what? You watching, you read the newspaper and, oh, there's so many people got killed over here, this and that or whatever, cartels are moving and all stuff. Like, oh, I was just there. Yep. So then I came to, Brownsville. I was in Harlingen, which is 2 cities up north. And then I was in Corpus Christi. I met some cool people over there too and good friends, and keep moving and, just, I don't know, just being always aggressive on learning. I think one of the things that helped me out in this country was like when I first came in, I saw it. I saw what it was, and I liked it. That's what I wanted to do, and I embrace the culture. I embrace the people, regardless how they felt about me. I always thought that if they felt different about me, they probably had a reason because I'm a foreigner. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And whatever the reason was or whatever, I didn't make that my problem. I just wanted to get through it and get to know people and get to know the language and embrace the culture. And that's how the whole thing started, because once I started doing that, I was just making so many friends around it. And then once I start actually, communicating with them in English, not halfway. I'm a third way right now, but but I think that opened up a lot of doors for me with friendship with people all over the place. Anywhere I went, whether it was in Texas, and then I went to Oklahoma City, was in Washington D.C. And I was just by myself. Mm-hmm. I'm just like I took my 2 suitcases. I had a boombox and got my cassettes and my music and everything, and I was like, let's roll.
I didn't know you went out to What took you out to DC?
I got a lot of family over there. I got a lot of cousins that came before me. Okay. So here's one of the things. A lot of those people that are there, they came before me, but we were never in touch with each other. Mm. But when I was here, since I was here, my dad, I talked to my dad, and he said, "Hey, look, so and so is over there in DC, blah blah blah," and this were people that my dad really respected, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should go pay them a visit. And he's like, yeah, you should go. He sent me a letter, he sent me an address and everything. And I remember, so I was in Oklahoma City with a friend of mine over there. And then I said, you know what? I think I want to go to Washington, D.C. And he's like, what are you going to go do with it? I said, I got some cousins over there. I want to go see if I can hang out with them. Not knowing if it was going to find him or not, I didn't care, and I just like, literally I had 2 suitcases and a boombox. Because music, it was always be my thing. I got a boombox with a double, remember the ones with a double speakers and a double cassette players.
That's awesome.
That's what I had. I'm like, all right, let's go. And I took a trip over there, and you know.
Were you still 16?
No.
You did a lot when you were 16. So.
No, dude, that was I think I was like 20 already.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 20 already, and then I took a trip to DC. And the funny thing is, I took a trip to DC, and I went over there and trying to find my people over there. Didn't find him, so
No.
I just stay over there like for like a month, just hanging out and going to places and stuff. And because I had money, so I'm like, yeah, whatever. But I visited a lot of places over there on my own, just literally on my own. And then I decided to come back to come to LA. And because all my buddies over here, like, dude, just come over here. So I came to LA, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to. My thinking was, I'm gonna go to LA. I'm gonna go visit my buddies over there. A couple of weeks, whatever, and then I'll go back to Texas because I really like Texas. The place I was staying, the city and everything, it was cool. I had good friends over there and everything. So I'm like, I'm just gonna come over here, hang out, go back over there. I never made it back.
Apparently. That's awesome.
Never made it back. I had one job over here. The first job that I had over here in LA was in a company, and it was a machine shop company in Valencia. And so and that was my gig. That's I would love to do the plate, machines and make parts and stuff. And I was there for like 3 days. That was my first job. And then a friend of mine that was working at the bike shop in Santa Monica say, hey, listen, they're hiring over there, and you want to go try over there? And I'm like, you know what? Closer to the beach, instead of going to Valencia, I take that.
Yeah.
Hey, and he's like, well, you're gonna earn less money. I say, it doesn't matter. I'm closer to the beach. And
Priorities.
To what?
Priorities.
Yeah. I was like, are you kidding me? Closer to the beach. And so I took that job. It was I took a pay cut, but I didn't care. That's what I wanted to do. And I started to. It was my job was to clean bathrooms and clean the shop, make sure that everything was clean and no trash or anything. All the customers don't have to complain about being trashy and whatever. So I was there just making sure the place was clean. That was my job. And I started doing that, and then I saw, the guys at the shop fixing bikes and everything. Like, oh, that's a cool thing. I want to learn that. And I start moving and start talking to people. That's what I do. I talk to people. I start talking to people, and they're like, hey, listen, you can do this, you can do that, okay? So all of a sudden, like, now I'm fixing bikes, learning how to fix bikes, and learning how to do this and learn how to do that. And then at that time, the manager of the shop find out that I was more fluent in English than anybody else. And so he approached me. He's like, hey, Severio, listen, if I take my break, can you cover me? And you know how to do all this. You know how to talk to people, And I said, I would love to. And then he's like, I'll give you he's like, I'll give you a raise, $1, per hour. When, if you do this for me, like, that's awesome. So I started doing that. So I became one of his, right man. When he was gone, I was the guy in charge.
Nice.
Just because I spoke better English than anybody else.
Those English classes paid off.
That's right. ESL. and so I started doing that, And then I became the manager of that department because, my guy was like, you know what, I'm out. And then after that, um, um, I wanted to do sales in the front, in the showroom, because, everybody came there to the showroom, beautiful bikes, $11,000, $14,000 bike, right? So I talked to the manager of the store and I said, hey, listen, I think I can do that. And what he said to me is he's like, I don't think you have the skills to do that. He's like, all those people in there in the front, they're 100% commission. He lied to me. He said they're 100% commission. They don't sell. They don't earn any money. That wasn't the truth. But he made me feel like I could not do that job. And then I said, okay. So what happened is one time, everybody, because I was a mountain bike racer, so we all raced. And there was a big race in Big Bear Lake, and everybody took off. I didn't go. So we were short on stuff. But the manager that was the manager wasn't there, so the assistant manager was there. And he's like, Severio, can you come and cover us because we need people over here? I said, sure, I can do that. So I went back to the floor and I sold so many bikes while these guys were gone, right? Because I knew the product. I was a rider. I knew what's up and everything. So I sold a lot. And then when the manager came back and he's like, hey, what's Silverio doing over here on the floor? He's like, the assistant manager goes like, Silverio has been the #1 sales since all these guys been gone. And then after that, I was his #1 for the following 5 months. So that's I realized, you know what? I can do anything I want.
Nice.
So yeah, when people tell me that I can't do something, it triggers a spark on me. Like, are you kidding me?
I'm still waiting for you to start selling some real estate.
Hey, just tell him he can't do it.
That's what I told him that. I don't think you can sell any real estate. I'm patiently waiting, Severio. What's going on, bro?
So what?
I said I've been patiently waiting.
I'm still here.
You are. Put this one to sleep, man. I got
he is.
No, man, that's great. Mark hit something earlier about it could have gone many different ways than the way that it went, at that one pivotal spot. Why do you think, it's just, I'm spiritual and I believe in God and I believe everything happens for a reason. Why do you think you're here?
I think I'm here because there's a reason why, and I'm going to tell you the reason that I believe. And I always thought that if I could ever change somebody's mind, it could be my son. I think I'm here because, I don't know. So let me tell you this. So I came to Santa Monica, right? I met my wife in Santa Monica. I never left. My initials are SM, Silverio Martinez. My son's name is SM, Sean Martinez. I think that God, and I certainly believe that my mom's prayers, because my mom prayed for me every single day, all the time. I think God wanted me to be here. I think God wanted me to support my family. I think God knew that it was in my heart to do something, um, something good, you know, and that's the only explanation that I have. I believe in God. I believe that God protected me all the way from all these things that I saw since I was a teenager on my own. Because when I was in El Salvador, my dad protected me. My dad was awesome on protecting me against all that war that was happening in the middle of anything. Um, but after I took off from that, I didn't have any more protection for my family. The only protection that I had was God guiding me to go through different places and meeting the right people.
And God put those people in front of you.
Yeah, yeah. Just meeting the right people.
Absolutely.
They were right in front of me, and they will help me instead of trying to destroy me.
Right.
You know, and it like, look, that guy that got me across the border.
Yeah.
Okay, so check this out. This guy that got me across the border. At that time, they were charging $2,000. Guess how much he charged me?
Much.
Wow. That's a God thing right there. You happen to be living with him for 10 days? Yeah. That's no coincidence, right?
Nope,
Amen.
nope. We crossed, and then I say, hey, listen, how much I owe you? He was like, no, you don't owe me anything.
Hmm.
I say, are you kidding me? He's like, no, you don't owe me anything. It's like you're a good person. You're great, you know, and everything and this and that. And he's like, no, you don't owe me anything.
Hmm.
And I remember I bought a watch when I was in Guadalajara, and it was a nice watch. I'm always into watch. And I took off my watch and I gave it to him, and I said, hey, listen, here, take this. It's like, no. I said, just take it as a gift.
Hmm.
Since I can't give you money, just take this. It belongs to me. Now it belongs to you. I don't think I can ever pay you. I don't think we'll ever see again. And that was a fact. I never saw him again.
Wow. Love that.
But that's when you're 16 and a half. I mean, it's like Mark said, you know what? It's just you mature a lot when you're by yourself. You have to.
Did you have a relationship with God on that point?
Yes.
Did you know?
Yes.
You did? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, let's bring that back. That person that got me out of the military base,
Mm-hmm.
I met her in a church,
Oh,
Christian church.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it works, man. It's
Oh
crazy.
yeah, I met her. I was 11 years old. I remember, and my mom and I used to go to this Christians events church, and then I met her, and she always told me she was very powerful, and I noticed it after the fact. That she always told me, she's like, hey, if you ever get in trouble, because at that on that stage of the war, civil war, it was very dangerous to be a teenager. They were getting killed left and right. And so she always told me, she's like, if you ever get in trouble with the police, with anybody, just give me a call. Here's my phone number. Give me a call. So that's the first person when I got in that situation. I told my mom, I said, Mom, you gotta go see so and so. She can get me out. And my mom went to her, and she's like, oh my God, it's in there. And she's like, yeah. So she got me out. As soon as she got me out, I was out of the country the next week. But no, I you know, I was being exposed to God since I was little, and I think God um, wrote that journey for me.
Absolutely.
It's just amazing that I never had any problems going through Guatemala, Mexico, and crossing the borders and everything, and just finding and as soon as I cross the border too, just finding good people on the other side that can help me to succeed instead of putting me down.
Mm, that's a God thing.
I believe so.
Amen.
Yeah, yeah.
Good
And
stuff, Silver.
and my mom always tells me, she's like, Mijo, I pray for you every single day, and I think her prayers are always been working because thank God I'm I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
So Mark, what would you take just in terms of, have you read Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich?
I have not, no.
Um, he identifies a bunch of success principles. A lot of them, I know I've shared some with my brother and my dad. They're like, oh yeah, that's common sense, So just what you would logically think are keys to success, just from Severia's story. What things jump out at you? You mentioned God.
Okay.
I do believe
Yeah.
faith is important, and I do believe God's grace and His blessings and ensuring your safety is important. What other principles could you pull out of the story that he shared?
Oh my gosh. Determination, grit, focus, maturity, um, and faith. I mean, there's so much. My story is nothing like yours, but there's so many. When we go through trials in our lives, when we go through struggles in our lives, what is it that gets us through that? And for me, it's my faith. I would be a different person if I didn't trust in the Lord. So much of my life is my religion, and it's the fact that I love Jesus Christ and He's my Savior. But a lot of times we don't realize that when we're going through those situations. We don't focus on Him. Look what I did. Look what I accomplished. Look what I did. And sometimes He has to make a step back. So trust is the word that I'm looking for. I need to trust in God.
Right.
what his plan is for me. God knew that Silver was going to be sitting here tonight while he was a 16-year-old boy working his way through countries he didn't know. God knew he was going to be here, and Silver trusted in that. So he had a determination to go, and God blessed him for that. Because that's why I asked, did you have faith at the time?
Right.
You might not have reflected on him every night sitting in somebody's house that you didn't know. I don't know. You might not have said, thank you, Lord, for putting me here, but I hope now you can say, thank you, Lord, for putting me in that man's house, for connecting.
No, you know what I did when
Did
I
you?
was no, not literally, when I was traveling,
Right.
and I told my mom when I left, I said, you know what, it's in God's hands.
Yeah. Amen.
He knows what's best for the two of us, because if I stay over here, I want to get murdered by these guys. He knows that. It's right now it's my decision, but I think it's more like I'm being driven to do this. Like I'm in an exodus from my country to do this because I need to survive. And I say, God will help me. And every time I were somewhere, I was always praying. I say, God, help me to get to the next point. God, all the time. And until today, I believe that God got me through everything that I have done.
Mm-hmm.
Not me. Everything that I have done is God drive me to do those things, and He guide me to accomplish what I have so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for God. That's
yeah. He has a purpose for you.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I think my purpose was creating. I don't know. I don't know if my story can change somebody's life, and see it on a way that, hey, I did it.
Mm-hmm.
But I did it with the faith.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anything. I didn't know anybody on this side. It was just by faith that I could make it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it.
Yeah. I think for us too, Darcy and I both work this way. If I wake up every day and say, okay, how does the Lord want me to handle this client? How does the Lord want me to do this? How does the Lord want me to do this? Whatever the outcome is, it's what the Lord wants anyway. So it's got to be right. Doesn't mean we don't have to work hard and try hard and push hard and squeeze that square peg through that round hole. If God wants that square peg to go through that round hole, it will go. As long as I honor Him and glorify Him through all I do, which it sounds like you were doing, absolutely. And we give Him the glory through all of it. The outcome is the outcome, and it's God's plan. So
Exactly. That I believe in that. I believe that on every day that we wake up in the morning and we're breathing, I'll thank God for giving me another chance to enjoy paradise again. And the rest, it will develop as He wants it to develop. And I just had to input myself into that plan, and that's how it's going to work.
Yeah.
Because I can't change a lot of this stuff, but He can.
No, we can't change any of it.
That's
we
what I'm saying.
work hard at trying, but
that's what I'm saying.
His plan. It's
we just move along, and He will put people around us, the people that we're, that we need to do business with, and the people that don't, it doesn't matter. It's okay. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing that with us, and I'm excited about tomorrow. I know we got a lot of good stuff to share. Excited, Mark, for you to join us, and we'll try to hit it hard quick,
Thank you.
get it rolling, and then Severio, we're gonna have to cut that down to about a third. But
how much time do we have for tomorrow's meeting?
Well, you got 3.5 hours, Severio. You got 3.5 hours, dude. You got plenty of time.
we got about an hour in total. So, I'm assuming about 20 minutes or so with Mark, and then about 30 to 40 minutes with you. Thinking with Mark's time. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, It's all good. It may go up closer to the minute, I've done that before, but
I'll cut it short.
Yeah. Whatever you got to do. No, you don't necessarily have to, and then with Severio, we'll just, we're going to get in as long as you're good with it. I'll lead with the questions. I took a lot of notes, and that's why I was taking the notes. I got the recording, so I'll try to watch it if I can before we get on tomorrow morning. And I'll listen to some key things, but I'm going to hit on a bunch. And it actually would be nice to have you, Mark, at the end, because I liked how you connected everything, especially with God, with faith. That was the key. I still believe that's the key, most important trait and understanding in anybody who is successful, whether they believe in God or not. I believe that faith is absolute and it's important. But personally, I believe in God, so I believe things happen for a reason. I believe that the importance of you understanding how important other people are, that even though you kept saying you're on your own, you knew that you had God's protection. You knew that you were following, it was in God's hands. You left certain things out of your control. You controlled what you could. And again, you've shared the story, and I've heard different things that I never heard before. And then I remember other things that you shared with me that were just still had me in awe. But I think the biggest thing and the most important thing that I want to end with when we do this tomorrow, because we could keep going. We have more time tonight. That's why it's nice that you were able to open up. But tomorrow I'd like to end with why you believe that you made it here, right? What is your purpose here? The fact that you were forced to join the military, and then your son has just recently joined the military. I wanted to touch into that and share what your thoughts, and the fact that you created your son, well, God created your son through you and your wife. You raised your son with so much in terms of, not just anybody signs up for the military. I grew up in a military household my whole life. I wanted to join. I figured my dad was just prepping me for that, just the way that I was brought up. I was ready to go. I was actually enrolled to do a program at San Diego State. My dad talked me out of it. And but your son did it. And
Amen.
He's out there in boot camp, and he's serving this country. And it's all because of your journey, your faith, you taking that chance. When something didn't feel right back then, you trust your instincts. God was telling you, talking to you, you listened, and you did it. And you risked everything. You burned everything behind you. You left the hardest, not, when I say burn, you left everything that you knew behind you, including your love for your mom that stayed with you and was so important. But you knew if you can endure that you can basically do anything and accomplish anything. And I know that you're just getting started. I know we've been in the business for 15, 16 years, but you're just getting started. Just like, certain people that I got around took me to another level. And I know, and I see it with you, and we practice every day and I see it. I know you got some amazing things that you're going to impact. And that's where I'm curious to see, not just where the journey goes, but who you impact. And that's why I want to interview you tomorrow, because I know you got a voice that needs to be heard. I know you have an impact that's going to be big, that's going to be huge in many different ways. And I'm excited to see, because I know, again, if this touches one person, it's worth us taking the time tonight and tomorrow to do this.
Yeah.
And
I believe that.
And that's been our approach, and it's been an awesome thing. And again, if people don't like it, let them hate and think whatever they want to think. We don't care.
You know what? It's okay. It's okay.
The point is being true to ourselves, being true to who we're trying to impact, and trying to just help out and leading from the heart, and God will speak through you, and we're good, bro. It's going to be awesome. So thank you for the time. And
I wish I could be on the whole call.
Yeah, well, it'll be recorded, and
I might jump onto the end if I can come back in.
Absolutely. Right?
No, you're not welcome, Mark.
and knowing Severio, and see, everybody thought I was the talker, man. Knowing Severio, it will be going.
I think I just come back on about noon. We still be going. I'll just jump in about noon.
I learned it from the best.
And cut it off. Say, hey, Brandon, I gotta pull you out of this. You gotta go. Like, thank you. But no, man, it's gonna be solid. We'll try to keep it to the hour. If it goes a little over, it goes a little over. I mean, it's, again, there's nothing pressing other than just trying to respect people's time that are committed to this. Because I know the ones who actually hop on the Zoom call. So it's gonna be a Zoom meeting just like this. Now I have the ability, even on the meeting, to connect it to Facebook Live.
Oh, nice.
So from here, it'll go to Facebook Live, but I'm going to keep it in the group. So it'll just be in that private group. And if I'm certain I've sent it to you and your wife to join the group. So if you haven't already accepted it, try to accept that.
Yeah, I'll find it tonight, Brandon, when we're done.
Yeah. And then when you're on there, when you're on the group, then when it goes live, I'm going to connect it to the group so everybody in the group will see it.
Okay.
And it's not going to be the full range. So it's not all our clients. It's not everybody else out there. If you eventually, Severio, want to share it on your personal, that's up to you. You do what you want to do with it, But more than anything, we're just trying to just create something that we can keep in that private group. And it's unlisted, so you can't even search for it. It should still be on there. I know I've sent it because I've checked to see, if your name's on there. So it's got to be in your notification somewhere. But it's called Think and Grow Real Estate.
I have seen it. I didn't realize it was a membership thing. I apologize.
No need to apologize, man. It's I just sent it out to a bunch of people that I wanted in that group, and definitely would love, for you and your wife to be on there.
Cool.
Yeah, you guys are good people. Let me tell you that, Mark. I really appreciate your and your wife. You guys are good
thank
people.
You, Silver. That's nice. And I appreciate you guys too very much. I'm so glad I was on this phone call tonight, or this Zoom meeting. Phone call. I'm old. This Zoom meeting.
So am I.
Yeah.
I'm getting there, man. I'm getting some grays that are filtered in there.
Yeah, whatever.
I got gray.
Well, I'm getting rid of the gray. I've got no hair now. How about that?
Well, you guys have a good one. I know it's thank you guys both for your time. Silver, are you good? Do you have any questions before tomorrow? Or Mark, either of you?
I'm good. I'll see you guys at 10 o'clock.
I'm ready to talk tomorrow.
Oh gosh.
Oh gosh.
No beer,
start in like Corpus Christi. Just start in Corpus Christi and then you're good.
Yeah. Not in Guadalajara.
Well, this one was a private conversation, so yeah, they would know that.
Not in Ecuador, right? We're in El Salvador.
Ecuador.
What? Ecuador.
Yeah.
What?
So you started in England.
Dude, Ecuador has one of the most tasty ceviche.
Okay, so we'll be from Ecuador then.
Oh, ceviche is shit.
Severio, guess where my first partner was from?
No kidding.
Ecuador.
Nice.
He's from Ecuador, bro. No joke, man. So that's why when you said El Salvador, I was like, damn, I knew I was close. I mean, at least
South of the United States.
That was far. That was
I'm
far.
sure they're far in distance. You know it better than I do, man. I
Yeah,
didn't realize you're the El Salvadorian Forrest Gump, bro. You've been all across the country.
shit, I've been all over the place.
Now I get why you like to hike. Now I get why you like going out on all those, seeing.
Oh,
being one with
dude,
nature, bro.
it's nature. I love nature. It's
That
just,
poor little guy's tired, man.
I know. I gotta go drop him off. All right, Severo.
all right.
Gentlemen, see you in the morning.
Yeah.
Mañana.
You guys in the
God
morning,
bless.
Yeah, we'll send that in
God
by
bless
now
you guys.
in the morning, and then just shoot me a text. We'll try to all connect if you can around like 9:50, 9:45, 9:50. Make
Okay.
sure we're good. And then we'll try to go live right at about 10 o'clock.
Okay,
Cool?
come up.
Awesome.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
brothers.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
All right,
See ya.
God bless. We'll see you
Goodbye.
later.